Welcome, Penis Breath, to Geek Salad Retro Movie Reviews. From the Geek Salad Podcast, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Todd.
And tonight, after everybody collects themselves, I love that I surprise you guys with these things. I really do. I don't expect to see that one anymore. Tonight we have a very special guest joining us once again from the Black Girls Do Stuff 2 podcast, the lovely Miss Nick. So, Nick, just in case this is somebody's first time watching this and you're not a friend who watches these all the time, tell us a little bit about your show.
Black Girls Do Stuff 2. We are an entertainment, lifestyle, pop culture podcast, mostly focusing on movies and TV. Sometimes we throw in comics. I'll probably be throwing in video games soon because there's been a lot of announcements in that arena. And yeah, we just want to lend a voice to areas where you don't typically see Black girls talking. So
awesome stuff. So tonight's movie is E.T. If you click the thing, you know what we're talking about tonight. Released in 1982 for a time. This was the top grossing domestic release of all time. Yep. Pop quiz. What was the movie to knock E.T. off that perch? Todd.
I know.
What is it?
Jurassic Park.
Wrong.
Come on.
It was Star Wars on the 97 special edition release.
Well, I quit. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what movie E.T. knocked off the perch?
No, I think it was Star Wars.
It was Star Wars.
Yeah. Just desserts. And then, like 3 months later, Titanic beat it, and then life wasn't good for a long time. So I'm looking down at Nick's thing right now. I'm just like, I don't know what her response would be with the Titanic thing.
I was doing the same thing.
Or she doesn't. All eyes on you, Nick.
About Titanic?
About Titanic.
I mean, anytime it's on, I watch it, but it's not in like my top 10. But I watch it every single time. Does that make sense? Like, I can't help it.
You know what? I'll take it.
All right, I'll take it. I hate that movie with the white hot passion of 1,000 suns.
I don't know. It's something about it where I'm like, oh, okay, Titanic's on. I'll watch it from this point. It doesn't matter what part. Mostly so I can yell at them at the end, but
okay.
I still really just enjoy watching it, even though, I don't even know if I put it in my top 20, but I can't help it.
Oh, Todd, you're robot right now. You were a 1982 Commodore computer. Now he's frozen. Like a 1982 Commodore computer.
And you're frozen again. But it's really bit and jerky.
All right. Todd.
Well, while we're waiting for Todd to unfreeze, let me ask you one of the most important questions from this movie.
Yeah. Who
Who is Sally? She loved Mexico.
We need an episode after that. Come on.
I'm aware of that.
Oh, Sally. Todd, what were you going to say? Oh, now he's gone. He'll be back.
Yes.
So while we're waiting for Todd to come back, I'll start with you, Nick. When was the first time you saw E.T.? When and where?
I'm assuming I was at home somewhere. Because I looked at when E.T. came out. And so I know my father had to have shown it to me. My mom's not a big movie person, but my dad and I, that's like our thing. So he probably showed it to me like at home or something like that. Either VHS or we got it from Blockbuster or something like that. And I was probably pretty young, probably like four or five or something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Mike?
I
know you didn't see it in the theater.
No. Oh, there we go. Todd's back.
Hey, he's back.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, welcome back, Todd. We're just asking where, when, and where. How old were you, and where were you when you saw E.T. for the first time? Mike was going, and I'll let you go, Todd.
No. Please let Todd go first.
That's you, sir.
If my internet doesn't crap out again, I was -3 when this movie came out, so I saw it for the first time on VHS at my grandparents'. They had like a trailer at the Cape Cod, and we watched it on VHS on like a 13-inch TV. So
nice.
It's probably 4, 5 years old. When, I mean, the VHS would have come out at some point in the mid 80s, right? So probably 88, 89, something like that.
Yeah, actually, it was 88 or 89.
Yeah. So as soon as it came out, I probably saw it then.
Cool. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I was 3 when this movie came out, so I probably did not see it in theaters. Probably on VHS. I was probably one of the ones that my parents rented. But yeah, so I was probably 5, 6, somewhere around there.
Cool.
I bet you saw it in theaters, didn't you?
Saw it in theaters, saw it 3 times in the theater. I was 10 years old. And it was, to me, it was incredibly timely because this was about, I think we were about a year and a half removed from my parents splitting up. So the movie really touched me. Elliot, Henry Thomas, was just about the same age as me. I actually think he's got a year on me in real life, but Elliot was 10 and I was 10 and we were going through a lot of the same stuff, and I only wish I had an alien best friend to keep me company.
But so did Steven Spielberg, which is why this movie exists.
Yeah. Exactly. God, all these movies in the 1980s shot in the same suburb, all about your lousy your broken family.
Hey, Spielberg went through the same thing, so he was taking from his own personal.
Yeah. I always love this neighborhood. I don't know why. There's just, whenever I think of like suburbs, I always think of this suburb in E.T. And I think like 2 blocks down is the Poltergeist house too. So
yeah, it looks about the right. Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time y'all saw E.T.?
Years ago for me.
Oh,
probably a couple years.
Nick.
Yeah, I wanted to watch it today, and I just didn't get around to it because I used to watch it all the time when I was a kid. Like, I loved this movie. And then I just haven't seen it in, like, a very long time.
Todd?
Yeah, it's about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. I'm assuming you've shown your daughter this movie, right?
She's not seen it, no.
No? Ooh, okay.
So I was a little bit traumatized by this movie. Obviously, when I was a kid, I loved it. It was a really cool adventure. It made me want Reese's Pieces all the time, to play with a Boba Fett action figure, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But the end, when E.T. is sick and Elliot gets sick and they find E.T. in their little ravine, it was just very traumatic for me. And then at the very end, I would always cry, like man tears, as a boy. So I have not shown it to her yet. So it's on the list. It's definitely on the list.
Hell, when I saw it last couple of years ago, I still cried man tears. That ending is beautiful. It's still really sad.
It is hard to get through. We watched this 2 weeks ago, and because my son had never seen it, so, and it's just that last bit where he's saying his final goodbyes to E.T., and you're just like, the interesting thing about this movie also is that it is purely it's done from the perspective of children. The mother is really, I wouldn't say she's an impediment, because that's the interesting thing about this movie. There are no bad adults in this movie. Even the government scientists aren't there to hurt him.
Yeah, I mean, they tried their hardest to save him.
They did. They brought in they brought in a medical staff to do this. And actually, about a week or two ago, a friend of the show, Derek from the Midnight Myth, did a podcast about E.T. and its ties to Peter Pan. And it was just really interesting. I was also that podcast years old when I found out that the mother has a name.
Mary,
yeah. Never once occurred to me, because in the credits, she's just the mother. She's not. It's called her Mary.
Okay.
So thoughts on E.T. What do you love about the movie? What works? What doesn't?
Let's start with Vic.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. So what I love about the movie, it's probably, as you all said, it's a great story. So like even though I haven't seen it in a very long time, I remember it in such detail because it was just something that like I really gravitated towards. And I never thought about it until you just said it, Indy, but it is from the perspective of kids. So as a child, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I would do that. You know, it's like those things. And there's just like little moments where I still, in various circumstances, use ET quotes, right? So like everybody still says ET phone home. Sometimes for no reason at all, I'll just say Elliot, like because I'll do the whole the finger thing. So it's so nostalgic for me, and it just stuck with me like so much because I will say it's probably been. I can't think of watching ET in probably the last 10 years, but I still remember all these things about it. So that's probably what I love the most. It reminds me of my own childhood.
This movie does stick with you. And it sticks with you in a way that a lot of movies don't, because it's not, I don't feel like this is a sci-fi movie, even though it has an alien in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a children's story.
Mm-hmm.
So Todd, thoughts?
Yeah, when I think about this movie, I think about it as watching it as a kid and crying every single time I watched it. I also watched it again in college when I was doing the AFI Top 100 list. And it was, I want to say it was in like the 70 to 80 range on the list. I was trying to go as much in order as I could. And I had never seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So I watched those two fairly close together. And just everybody compares them because they're Steven Spielberg Extra Terrestrial movies, right? E.T. has so much more heart, and it's such a more fulfilling story for me. And that's why it's always stuck with me. I also think about the lessons I've learned from it, like stay away from saw blades. And I know how to fake a fever and see it stick it or in the coffee, right? But I don't know, there's just some certain scenes that stay. Again, I haven't seen it in a while, but there's scenes that stick with me and just it's just a part of who I was as a kid. So, and I didn't like it as much as Star Wars or Indiana Jones or anything like that, but it falls into that same category for me.
Yeah. It's the funny thing about this movie is that it's a movie that doesn't feel dated at all, but the bits that are dated are really dated. When we were watching it over the weekend, they introduced you to Elliot via this Dungeons and Dragons campaign in those awesome, like, rounded table things, which are such a staple of the late 70s. And we're watching that, and my wife's like, is one of those kids smoking? Yeah, that makes sense. The 14-year-old kid is smoking in somebody's house. That is such an early 80s thing.
Yeah.
And let's not talk about the action figures, Todd.
Isn't that the first time the name Boba Fett was dropped in cinema?
Actually, the name Boba Fett was dropped in cinema because he's never called Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back.
There is a deleted scene, and I just watched it the other day. But
okay.
Yeah.
But that wasn't released in cinema.
That's true. That's true.
And the Christmas special was not released in cinema either.
That's true. That's true. But I'm sure that there's some Star Wars nerd who just watched this for the first time whose head is exploding over this is Walrus Man. This is Hammerhead. No, that's all wrong. It's Pod the Barba.
Well, yes. But that's what I called him when I played with him when I was a kid. So
that's what they were called on the blister pack. It was Walrus Man and Hammerhead.
Yep.
Greedo was lucky he got a name because it's said in the movie. But yeah, it's Mike. How about you? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean this, for a movie about like a family and their relationship to an alien. I mean, most movies when you have aliens in it, it becomes a big epic movie. Is aliens, spaceships, whatever. This is a very personal story. The alien is almost kind of tangential to it. It's really about this family and the divorce that they're going through, and the lack of a father figure, the lack of kind of relationships. I mean, you both Nick and Todd, you both said that it feels very much like a child's story, and I mean, pretty much the first half of the movie is shot from a lower angle just to give it that extra feel. So I mean, this is Spielberg kind of just playing with his art a little bit, but also telling a very personal, very small scale story about this kid and finding a friend when he most needs it. And the friend just happens to be an alien that he has to help get home. It's such a small story, but it's so personal and so beautifully told. And I mean, from the very first moment, you get. I think the reason it sticks with you so much is because you have such a great connection. You get such a great dimensions for all of the characters. E.T., Elliot, Gertie, Mike, hell, even the parent, the mother, and to a certain extent, even Keys. You really kind of relate to these characters, so the characters are what kind of stick with you long after the movie's ended.
Yeah, Mike, I think you're right with that small scale. This could have easily blown up into a large scale movie because all the pieces are there, right? Steven Spielberg, the master of the summer blockbuster, John Williams on the score, right? Big budget, pretty much, hey, here's Steven Spielberg, you can have whatever you want, but he kept it small and he kept it grounded, and it works.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the entire movie takes place over the course of what, like 5 city blocks?
Yeah.
It's not this expansive thing.
And for a time span of maybe a week and a half if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting too, because you really do grow with these characters as we're watching them grow. Even Mikey. I think that Mikey is kind of one of the unsung heroes of this movie. He's really remains grounded the entire time, but he's growing up in a different way than like Elliot and Gertie are. Because he is a teenager. He's becoming an adult. And they shoot him. There are certain scenes in the movie where they shoot him in such a way where he's just has this look like all of the stuff around him is so just insignificant because there is something larger out there. That scene in the bus where he just sits in the back of the bus and they do that drag shot back. Everybody's like throwing, they're just horsing around on the bus. And he is just in deep in thought, and it's such a gorgeously shot scene. And it's interesting because he did the same thing when E.T. was dying, and Mikey is sitting in that little closet cubby. And he's just kind of looking out into space, and it's really well composed. It's very French movie like, if you will.
Well, I mean, Spielberg was a big fan of Truffaut,
right?
So much so that he cast him in
Close Encounters.
So
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the John Williams score. Top 5?
That man can do no wrong. It's amazing. Amazing.
I mean, it's not my top 5 John Williams score, but it's probably in my top 5 John Williams Steven Spielberg score.
That's fair. He did a lot of
category.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, Superman, Star Wars.
Yeah. Empire is a completely separate beast from any of the Star Wars movies in terms of scoring anyway. So
yeah.
I have a little sidetrack note. Lily and I have been watching Star Wars, and we're actually going chronologically through them. We were watching Empire the other day, and then we watched a little behind the scenes on it, and she couldn't believe that John Williams just made all of that up out of his head. And I'm like, yeah, the dude is unbelievable. Like,
yeah,
he came up with dun 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 dun, and she's known that since she was a baby. So, it's just I don't know. He can't miss on any of these. So, to the director's credit and to the producer's credit, they let him do his thing. Right?
Yeah.
And you can't, it's greatness, and you can't mess with it.
This is the kind of movie I feel like, I don't know if you guys ever did this like in junior high music class or anything, where you watch Jaws, but you watch it with the sound off and just watch it. And then you go back and watch it with the music. And it adds, this was a little experiment we did in junior high. And it's just that the music adds so much. Now, all of us were reduced to weeping puddles, right, Nick? Waterworks, Todd, Mike. Imagine all of that happening. Imagine that scene with E.T. and Elliot at the very end where Elliot tells him that he loves him without that music.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all.
I mean, and like the final shot of the spaceship taking off and the rainbow and that with the John Williams score, that dun, 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 dun. I mean, it's running through my head because it's such a perfect cap on that beautifully scene and beautiful movie.
You know, the funny thing is, my favorite part of that entire soundtrack is actually the start to the end credits.
Dun, 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 dun,
No,
dun,
the piano. It opens with that, like just that rolling piano, and it's really cool because it fits the mood of the entire movie, but it sounds different than everything else. I'm talking too much. Nick.
No. I was just saying I have to go back and watch recently and listen because, like, I know the main ones that everyone kind of knows from E.T. The moon music. But I can't draw specifically, but just to comment on what you said, for most movies, I think that that's the sign of a great musical composer is the movie just not being as impactful. And I mean, you could say that takes away from other areas of filmmaking, but I really think for most movies, sound is so important. The music, for dramas, things that make you cry, it usually is that one note where everybody starts crying at the same time. Like everybody's like, "Oh, I can't even," So it doesn't matter. Like I can think of every movie that makes me cry every single time, and there's always like that note that happens, and you're like, "Okay, it's starting." So I would love to go back and watch it and just listen to every single score within the entire film because I just
it's a Friday night. It's still reasonably early when we wrap. I don't see any reason why you couldn't just turn on Netflix after this. And
is it on Netflix?
Oh yes.
Netflix. Oh well, yeah. I'm watching The Flash right now, but
wait, are you at The Flash?
What did you say?
You say The Flash?
Yeah, I'm watching The Flash season 6.
Oh, okay. I'm actually going into to Netflix right now just to double check, just to be on the safe side. E.T. is on there.
Oh, it is because I started watching it before the show.
Okay.
I know. Well, here's what I'm going to do, Nick. I am going to be the nice guy here. Excuse me while I do all this while we're on air. We're just going to copy that link. Successfully copy clipboard. Oh, what's this? Your Twitter. There we go. Boom. I just sent you the link. You can access it on your phone later on, or your computer, or however you watch your Netflix.
By the way, this movie box office of $792.9 million on a budget of $10.5 million.
Wow.
This movie has made money.
Yeah. Yes, it did.
Think about it.
Now they still merch. So
think about this too. You guys, I hate to have to be the old man in the room here, but
you are.
It's just going to
definitely. Summer movie season in the early '80s was like there was this mixed bag. Maybe there was like one or two movies that would come out, but like the first time I remember like being super excited about a summer movie was the following year when Return of the Jedi came out, and that's just because Star Wars. But it was like this movie came out of nowhere. I didn't remember hearing about it, anything in advance. I remember like going to the convenience store back when Tops used to put out like those movie cards with the gum, that awful piece of petrified carbonite gum. Yeah.
Terrible.
Todd, you do those, the cards?
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
Yeah.
I got a pack of Roger Rabbit cards at That's Entertainment a few years ago. The gum was still in it. So,
Yeah, I take a big bite of that, and after that, you could just use it to fight gangs with you.
Exactly. Well, I tried a bite of it. Now I'm going to slip my wrist with it.
Pretty much.
It's sharp and hard enough to do.
Hey, I need a shiv. I don't got a spoon, but I got a piece of gum. All right,
But the thing is, I saw the cards like at the convenience store, and I'm like, I have no idea what this is. And they put ET right on the thing too. And it's like, I wish I had been surprised by what he looked like the first time I saw the movie.
Yeah.
But that was like growing up, because the summer of my 10th year, we actually lived in Rhode Island with my grandmother for a while. And so that was the thing to do. What are we going to do with the kids? I don't know. It's raining. Okay, let's go see E.T. Hey, go see Tron? No, we're going to see E.T. again. Okay.
it works for me.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy to think that this really is a small movie. As you mentioned, like it's a very small movie that just has left this indelible impact. This is something that my kids can show their kids. And the weird thing is too. Did you guys all see the Xfinity commercial, like the long form commercial that aired at Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
When ET came back.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I were like, "All right, I'm gonna go check something in the other room."
It always gets you. It always gets you. Edie, I have a question for you as the old man in the room. Was this as heavily merchandised as other Spielberg things and Lucas?
No.
I remember I had an E.T. bendy action figure.
Right.
It was, this big, and his arms were this wide, and that was it. That's the only thing I ever had from this movie. This
kind of suffered like the Baby Yoda Frozen thing, where they didn't know it was going to be a hit, so they didn't bother with anything.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure we've all heard the story. Nick, I don't know if you heard the story or not, that they approached M&M's to kind of be the candy in ET. M&M, it was, I think, the Mars Candy Corporation looked at it and said, "Yeah, we don't get it. No." So they took it to Reese's, and Reese's Pieces had like a 3,000% jump in sales after this.
Yeah.
And that was the closest thing to marketing. So when they finally did put toys out, Todd, they were awful. They were just like these poorly put together stuffed dolls that had like this really weird vinyl feel to them.
Mm-hmm.
I still have it. I can see it from right here. It's covered in dust, but it's like a porcelain ET statue. It's got like a little blue blanket over his head.
Oh.
Yeah.
They released the ET fingers not too long after. And it had a battery in it. And it was just like this really long brown finger, and you could like kind of push it down on your finger and it would light up.
Didn't those get like really, really hot at the end?
It was the 1980s. I'm sure some kid died.
It was the 80s. Who cares?
Exactly.
That's
okay. Look,
If it was like the same technology as Easy Bake Oven Light, somebody's finger burned off. So hot. Like, so hot.
I actually saw a thing on Facebook the other day, Nick. It was like, "Hey, the Easy Bake cake that I started in 1987 is done. Anyone want to try some?"
No, that wasn't the original. I had an Easy Bake Oven. Like, the story of how I got an Easy Bake Oven so young is like, I was a weird kid, but I had one, and it used to get so hot it would burn everything because it was like a 100-watt light bulb in like a oven that was this big, so everything would just burn. Like, and I was like, why would anybody want this? But I love mine. But
you had to learn how to cook,
Right. I had to start somewhere.
For you, what are we talking? We're talking like mid to late 90s when you had that?
No, so my brother was born in 88, I think.
Okay.
So I was only like 2, but I remember specifically asking for Easy Bake Oven, but I got a brother. So I cried in the hospital. He's born after Christmas. I cried in the hospital and I said, I didn't ask for this. I wanted Easy Bake Oven instead. It's on the way home they got me Easy Bake Oven. So
Can we return the baby and get an Easy Bake Oven instead?
right, but I had to keep him too. But at least
is that how I would have gotten a Power Wheels? Is if my parents come on? I mean, I never got my Power Wheels.
I had a Power Wheels pink Barbie convertible.
Ooh.
But I was too tall for it by like 3 months after Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they well, actually, no, you make my point even better because it was the late 80s. It's like, ladies, you got to learn how to cook. How else you going to rope yourself a man?
It was like all the toys back then.
Yeah.
Bake me this cake with this 40-watt light bulb now. I still, and maybe Todd, as the music guy here, maybe you can shed some light on this. The poster in Elliot's room, there's like a poster of a rock star, and I cannot figure out who that is.
Mike's on it. I know that. I do not.
I can see Mike going to work right now.
I do not know
figure out who it is. I didn't know if maybe you would know who it was.
I do not remember that.
Oh.
When I watch it and we figure it out, I will, that really helps what we're doing right now. But
yeah, I understand that. I understand that. But yeah, has anybody seen when they re-released it for the 20th anniversary in 2002?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters at that point.
With the special edition where they cut out
the guns.
They cut out all the guns and gave them walkie-talkies and flashlights, and they added in some of the deleted scenes.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the DVD version I have, unfortunately.
Do you have the all right, because I have the 2-pack DVD for that. So I have that restored version, that newer version, but it came with the theatrical release as well. And
what a novel concept, George Lucas. Come on.
One day he's going to die and Disney will just be like, hey, look what we found. I mean, Todd, because we just redid the studio here, I literally hooked my VCR to the new to the TV we have down here now, just so we can watch the, see if I get that over there. I don't know if you can see this in the corner. The Star Wars widescreen VHS collection.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is it so that you don't get the holograms that all the Star Wars people say that they don't like? Or is there more that change? Because I only recently watched it, so I only know the version that's on Disney Plus.
So the ones on Disney Plus are the special edition versions. So they have added scenes, updated special effects. And quite honestly, Empire Strikes Back is the only one that I think the special edition did justice for because they just cosmetically changed it a little bit. Better.
Andy, you do know I've got the DVD with the original features.
I have Star Wars on DVD with the original. I didn't get the other two, which I've
got all 3, so I can bring them over anytime.
Oh, I have a VHS mic in widescreen. I'm good. I watched the way it was meant to be seen. After it's rewound.
I have a tape.
Yeah, Nick, I just watched Return of the Jedi with my daughter yesterday, and the scene in Jabba's palace with the Sai Snoodles and the little hairy guy singing their grand Jedi rock song.
Yeah, it was
an abomination.
Yeah,
the original was just way better, and that's all I have. That's all I got.
All right. So, Nick, I'm going to make a deal with you. And, Mike, you need to get in on this, too, just because once the world opens up again and I travel for work and I'm down near where Nick lives, I need to borrow your Return of the Jedi so I can visit Nick and we can have a movie night.
Sounds good to me.
Does that sound good?
I'm down for that.
I am down for that, too. So, Yeah. So back to ET.
I don't know if I've seen the special feature, the special edition of ET. It was at the time where I would buy DVDs and then not watch them.
Yeah.
Just it was like a more of an ownership thing. So I don't know if I've ever seen that. Was it where it doesn't sound as egregious as the Star Wars ones, does it?
Honestly, it could very well be worse in some cases. I know that Spielberg actually openly regretted doing it. But the problem is they did 2002 CG for the ET scenes because they were essentially just working off of that rubber dummy for the most part. So there are scenes of ET in the bathtub. There's a scene of him. You know that scene where the spaceship flies off at the very beginning and you just kind of see him watching it fly away? They actually show him running and it looks bad. I'm fairly certain you can actually find this on YouTube. I'm sure that there is the trailer for the 2002 re-release.
I don't know why you would. I don't know. I just don't get it. I know George Lucas always said, your art is never finished. It's never complete. You made, and like we said with our Star Wars chat, who are we to say otherwise? But you ruined my childhood with that. Leave it alone. You did the best you could in 1977 and 1980.
Movies are never finished. They escape.
And if you're going to do that and you do a Jabba the Hutt in 1977 and it sucks, do it again in 2004. Try again. You have better technology now. If you're going to do it, then do it now.
Yeah.
That's what
you ever find out who that was, Mike?
Mike's muted.
Yeah, Mike, you're muted. Mute. Or we're muted.
No, I was muted. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
So I actually had ET on Netflix. I was just scanning through. I saw the poster. I couldn't tell who it was, so I just did a Google search and I found it was Elvis Costello.
Really?
That's my guy.
I love how it didn't look like Elvis Costello though. It looked like some dude that had hits in from 1979 to 1981.
Yeah, it's Elvis Costello right on his wall behind his door.
I'm looking that up. I kind of don't believe that, but
Well, he also has a poster of the Artful Dodger from Oliver.
Okay.
Right next to that.
A Hulk light switch.
Yep.
So, am I the only person who became addicted to Reese's Pieces because of this movie and still am?
No. I'm fairly certain my wife is with you on that.
Yeah.
I may have been as well.
I actually. So when I was a kid, for me, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich was a bit of peanut butter, a lot of jelly. Now, give me a peanut butter sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I freaking love peanut butter. So yeah, I didn't love Reese's Pieces at the time, but I've grown to love them much more now.
I love it. So I actually worked for Hershey.
Oh.
And Reese is my favorite brand that Hershey has. I love peanut butter. So I got to go to the factory and see how a bunch of different things were made.
There it is. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah, he's the man.
All right, awesome.
The story that they tell, the Eminem story that Andy told earlier, that's something that they'll tell us. It's this is one of the things that helped this particular line blow up was, E.T.
Yeah.
Of them getting the opportunity to be in the movie.
What's interesting about this movie also is that there's a ton of product placement, but none of it is egregious.
Mm-hmm.
No.
It's not very in your face. E.T. drinks a Coke, and they actually, they call it Coke by name. They just show the bag of Reese's, but they only show it the once, and then they never really mention them again. Coors was another one, which how any being not of this earth can get drunk on Coors is beyond me. Lightweight. Friggin' lightweight.
But also,
come on.
I mean, I love how Spielberg decided to just throw in a bunch of Star Wars in there. As a nod to Lucas. He had Yoda character. He had Michael actually speak in the Yoda voice, like, "Yes, you have absolute power." And all the action figures. So hey, even Spielberg loves Star Wars.
Well, he's best buddies with George Lucas. Yeah. Why wouldn't you just try to give your friend a couple of nods? Because then the next summer, as I mentioned, Return of the Jedi came out, and I think the last time I saw E.T. like in that 1982 run, there was a Return of the Jedi teaser, and I lost my goddamned mind.
Yeah, I can see you doing that.
Oh God. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like they were teaching E.T. like this alien about life at that time, and from what I understand, Star Wars was extremely popular at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For them to put it in there, that makes sense.
It's funny. Go ahead, Mike.
The thing I find most unrealistic about this movie, though, is the fact that Elliot didn't teach E.T. how to spell boobies on the speaking spell. Come on. Every kid that owned a speaking spell would spell that out at least once or twice a day.
I think it's a digital calculator where you just spell boobs and then,
Oh, upside down, yeah.
Yeah. It was interesting. We had a conversation after the movie about the whole scene where Elliot's in school and he's getting drunk, where they're doing the frog dissection.
He lets them all go.
My father-in-law was a junior high school science teacher, and they would have to do this, but they were free. At that point, the frogs were freeze dried. So I can't imagine what kind of mental baggage a kid is going to have to carry with, I killed a frog today because the teacher told me it was all right.
I killed it so I could cut it open.
Gross.
So gross. In the name of science.
They're making them little serial killers. If you like this, we're going to watch you.
Giving kids a whole bunch of ideas. Where am I? Why am I in this jar? Well, I'm just going to put this chloroform-soaked cotton ball in there and screw the top back on.
It's funny you mention that. That's what I thought science class was going to be like. I ended up dissecting a fetal pig. That's what I had to do. And I was like, where's the frog? Where's the killing of the frog? Ugh.
Yeah, I had to do the fetal pig too, and I did not like one moment of it.
Awful.
I did
My sister-in-law had to dissect a cat because she was in medical school.
Oh no!
Again, frozen, free. It was just freeze dried.
I don't care. No, I love cats. No.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I don't.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want to dissect one either. No.
Yeah, maybe a freeze dried cat wouldn't make me sneeze so much. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
But then Elliot sets all the frogs free, so happy day.
Happy days.
And then kisses a girl.
He's living his best life.
It was a perfect day. All right, now this is the thing that ages this movie horribly. It's an 80s Spielberg movie. So your non-Caucasian count is, I think, 2. One of them is the hand of the teacher. You never see his full face. And the Lando Calrissian action figure. I'm convinced.
Well,
but that was a knock on Spielberg back then, because you go back and you go to the Goonies. The only non-Caucasian in that entire movie is Data. And so Spielberg didn't even direct that one, but the only non-Caucasian is Data, and he is just like, oh god, this didn't age well at all.
Nope. I still love Goonies.
I mean, I still love the movie The Goonies, but if we're being honest here, that's not just the 80s problem. So that's like a movie problem. It's kind
I'm just saying in general, Spielberg. That's why he did The Color Purple, was because he was tired of people like, dude.
Like, is that
why so white?
Yeah, exactly. Spielberg's so white.
Hashtag
but yeah. But no, this movie is really withstood the test of time. It's routinely in the conversation of movies that should have won Best Picture but didn't.
Yeah, this one lost out to.
It was 82. It lost to Gandhi. So it was back when, and this definitely still happens to this day, where the blockbuster loses to the prestige film.
Yeah, well, I mean, back then, most artistic directors still thought Spielberg was a flash in the pan.
It took Spielberg 11 more years before he actually won a Best Director Oscar, and that was for
Schindler's List.
So, his prestige film.
Same year as Jurassic Park, not his prestige film.
No, exactly.
But one of his most groundbreaking films of all time.
Exactly, which I cannot find on streaming anywhere.
It's on demand right now, so
it's on what?
It's just like on demand right now.
Oh.
So I think that's why it's not on streaming, because I've watched it like 7 times, like this month probably. I love Jurassic Park. So.
It's one of those movies that's it's my personal shame I don't own a copy of it.
Yeah, I just bought that for the very first time, maybe a year and a half ago. Got them, the original 3 before the Jurassic World films. Got those 3 for like $6 a piece. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I have.
Yep.
Got the digital copy. I'm good.
Nice.
It's not even on HBO Max.
Everything's on HBO Max.
They've got
after next month, it won't be.
They've got the Spielberg documentary on there, which is a fantastic watch, by the way.
Yeah, it was a very good watch. You guys heard about HBO Max, right? Like one of their biggest selling point was we have all the DC movies, and they're all leaving HBO Max next month.
It's on a rotating, yeah.
You would think that the company that owns HBO and DC, who happen to be the same company.
Yeah. Fortunately, there's still other things for me to watch on it, but I'm very disappointed in that.
Well, yeah, I'm still not paying $15 for it. I pay for HBO as it is. So
no, I'm paying $11.99 for that month for that one. So
that must be nice.
I have this thing where like I refuse to buy services of cable channels, like streaming services of cable.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Like even if I never get to watch some of my favorite things again, I'm not doing it. It's just like I'm dying on this hill. I'm not buying it.
You know what? I admire your I admire your stick-to-itiveness on that, Nick. I really do. So, do we have any other thoughts on E.T.?
Phone home. Ouch. Elliot.
I went to, I want to say it was the Boston Museum of Science, but it might have been one of the other museums in Boston where they had like movie science, and that was there. The phone.
Oh yeah.
Whole setup with the saw blade and the speak and spell and the umbrella and the record player. That was all there.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Would this be in your top 5 Spielberg movies?
I think it might be. On the spot, because this is the kind of thing that I need a lot of time to think of because I'm that person.
Yeah, well, me too. But just if you had a gun against your head, is this in your top 5?
Yes. If that's a gun against my head, yes, it's in my top 5.
No,
not in your top.
Right outside.
Okay,
but in your top 10.
Think about it. I always remember one more and one more and one more. Like originally I was like, oh yeah. All 3 Indiana Jones movies for me, even Temple of Doom, don't worry about it. And then I'm thinking Jurassic Park, and then, Jaws. Like, I can't forget Jaws.
Jaws
oh, God. All right. Damn.
Right? It's hard. It's very difficult to do.
Off. Oh, damn. I would have put it at 5, and now I'm like, oh.
Okay. I'm not a good action movie person, so for me, it definitely easily makes my top 5.
Well, good.
One of my top 5 from Spielberg is a musical. I mean,
but I think we can all agree. It's in at least the top 10.
Bless you.
Yes.
No, I'd agree with that. I would definitely definitely top 10, if not like number 6.
Sorry, Nick. I would have muted, but that one just popped out.
No, you didn't have to. I didn't want to sneeze. That's fine. I didn't mute it. I'm not the sneeze guard. I promise.
You know what? You're about 500 miles away. I think it's okay. She's fine. You're fine. No one's infecting anybody. We're all fine.
We're all fine. We're good. Yeah, don't forget about like
everything's fine. I have a really good feeling about this. So anyway, I truly do love it. Just closing thoughts on this. I truly love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing it again. It's one of those movies now because I've shown it to my kids. It's like now when is the next occasion I'm going to have to show this to somebody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I might save it for my live tweet of the day for tomorrow.
Ooh, well, you do that, Nick. I will totally retweet that.
Yeah, I think that.
You have to do all your shows. So it's the least I could do. So anyway, let's get some oh good Lord, what am I trying to say here? Let's let everyone know where you are, what you do, where you are, and where they can find you.
Me?
Yeah, you. Show your shillables.
So we are most active on Twitter. We're BOK Girls Do Stuff. On Instagram, YouTube, and our website is Black Girls Do Stuff too. And then you can listen to us anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, Todd, when is your thing?
My thing is tomorrow night. I'm doing a virtual play performance. It's called Designer's Disaster. It's part of a local playwright festival for Worcester County Light Opera Company. It's free to everybody. You can register online at wcloc.org. They had their first night tonight. Tomorrow's 2 shows, and I'm the second of those 2 shows. It's very funny. A couple of our friends, Andy, they're in it as well. It's a good time, and it's free, so you can't really beat that.
Great way of getting some live theater in the era where we can't get live anything anymore.
I think there's a Q&A after that, too.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I'll remind Autumn about that. I'm sure she'd like to see that.
Okay.
That's what I. All right, and Todd, Mike, and I host a little show called Geek Salad. We are available at geeksalad.podbean.com. And just like with Black Girls Do Stuff, too, we are everywhere you get your podcasts. We are also most active on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio, but we're on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. You can also check out our weekly videos here on YouTube. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment below. Very civil, please. Did you like E.T.? What are your favorite things? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? We would love to know what you think about that.
Oh, and by the way, the version on Netflix is the non-special edition.
I did ask you that.
They still have guns.
The special edition just like is like the forgotten edition.
Seems that way, yeah.
Kind of like the edition of Blade Runner with the narration, included in it.
Still boring.
I don't believe. So, so definitely let us know what your thoughts are. Nick, thank you so much for joining us yet again. Always a pleasure having you. Hopefully we can have you on next week when we continue with Spielberg, the month of Spielberg. What it just turned into.
I thought we were doing more 1980 movies.
No, I thought we were doing Raiders next week.
No, I thought we were doing Raiders next month.
Oh, all right, whatever. We'll figure it out. All right.
Raiders.
I look like the kind of guy who has a plan. So anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Todd.
Go forth and be nerdful. We will talk to you later and be good.